Good evening, universe. Tonight I'm going to be doing a tier list, which you can probably tell by the tier list. This one is going to be based on fantasy protagonists, mostly YA, I think almost exclusively YA. The rules are going to be pretty similar to the last one that I did, but if you haven't seen that, basically the idea is that I'm going to rank them based on their powers at the peak of their abilities, the very strongest that we see. And if it comes down to like which is stronger, we are going to assume that this is taking place in like a Dragon Ball Z style tournament, where it's a very basic, you're in a ring, and the rules are you lose if you get ring out or get knocked unconscious, or if you get murdered in this case, because some of these people are a little bit murdery with their abilities, and that's fine. We don't discriminate against murderer protagonists here. They'll be fully equipped with whatever they usually have on them. So if they happen to have a particular weapon, most of the time they will have it here as well. With that in mind, since I'll be talking about these characters at the peak of their abilities, there will be some spoilers necessarily involved in that. So I will be announcing the book before I start talking about what the character can do. So if you realize, oh, I haven't read that book and I don't really want to know what is the maximum ability of this character, then you can click off then. Also, I didn't want to use any non-sanctioned fan art, so I got a little bit creative with some of the representations, and I accidentally put one character on here twice, but we'll get to that in a second. So I will let you know who these characters are, and hopefully it won't be too confusing, but let's get started. So from the Renegades trilogy by Marissa Meyer, we have Adrian. Adrian Everhart, also known as... what the heck is his name? I keep wanting to call him the Terminator, even though I know that's definitely not correct. He has the ability to draw, and whatever things he draws become a reality. He also has the ability to tattoo those drawings onto himself, and then those become new superpowers. So that's really good. He does have to keep some of it a secret due to story reasons, but that's still pretty good. Oh, I forgot to mention the tiers, but I think they're pretty self-explanatory. So let's see. I'm going to put him in very strong because he can make new powers for himself. But I could see him also having a little bit of a weakness in that he has to take the time to draw new things. But he also has his, like, in his other form, in his secret identity, he has that super suit, which is pretty strong and tough. And he has, like, I think he gives himself super strength and a fire power and, like, a sonic wave. I know he can jump really high. He has, like, spring feet, and that's what we're working with here. Just to clarify with the spoilers thing, I will be describing the powers, but I'm going to avoid saying like events that happen around the powers. So like kind of soft spoilers, I guess. So this is from the Sea of Ink and Gold trilogy by Traci, Chee, also known as the Reader trilogy. This is the cover of book 3, The Storyteller. I know this is supposed to be a depiction of Sephia, but this is, in my case, going to be a depiction of Archer because I couldn't find an official picture of him. So this is what we're going with. It's difficult to give soft spoilers for this one immediately, but Archer is a very talented fighter, and he finds himself in a position with resources that allow him to be extra powerful. He finds himself with a whole lot of really strong backup, is what I'm going to say. And this does count as his own power for reasons. I'm going to put him in very strong also. And I think he could take Adrian. For one thing, his combat expertise and instincts are so incredible. We see him go against other magey types. I think he could take out Adrian with pure combat skill and with the extra abilities that he does get. Okay, so this is the one where I accidentally did it twice. This is just kind of the book cover, so I'm just going to slide this into Unknown real quick, and then I'll get into the character a little bit later. My tier list is a little bit funky, so I didn't want to delete it and then remove all of the things, so please just ignore that one. Then we have Emma from the Dark Artifices series from the Shadowhunters Chronicles by Cassandra Clare. This is Emma Carstairs. And Emma is the new Jace. So she is also, I feel like everybody's going to be in very strong again. So she's a shadow hunter, and she is incredibly talented. She has a sword, but I don't think that's quite enough to beat Adrian and his just kidding, because at the peak of her abilities, things get really intense. Okay, actual spoilers for the Dark Artifices. Please skip ahead if you don't want to hear exactly what her powers are. I will put a timestamp to where it's safe. She gets these magical Titan powers that are similar to the angel. So she gets incredible powers, and so she goes into godlike. Okay, so this is going to be from the Camelot Rising trilogy. The first book is The Guinevere Deception, which you can probably see from my little icon. We're talking about Guinevere here. She is our protagonist, and she... let's see. I want to put her either in godlike or at the top of very strong. I'm going to put her at the top of very strong because she doesn't quite have reality bending abilities yet. She's not quite at that level, I wouldn't say. So I'm putting her at the top of very, well, I feel like she has enough limitations that she wouldn't be able to beat Archer. I'm actually going to move her here. Yeah. At the bottom of very strong instead, because she does have some really interesting and cool powers, but it takes a lot out of her, and I don't think she could sustain combat with these guys very well. Okay, next, this is Jem Carstairs from the Infernal Devices. He is going to go in strong because he's, well, yeah, I'm putting him in strong because he's just a shadow hunter. For the most part. Sometimes he's a shadow hunter with other extra abilities, an altered shadow hunter, let's say. But I think that just puts him in the tough situation. I don't think he could beat Guinevere's magic or fight these guys. So he goes in strong. Next up, we have Julian. Again, he's just a shadow hunter. His abilities are mostly with planning and strategy, and I think Jem has a little bit more stuff in his wheelhouse. So if it came down to it, I think he would be able to... just kidding. I forgot. Okay. Yes, so I forgot to say this earlier. He is also from the Dark Artifices, like Emma from the Shadowhunters Chronicles. He was up here with Emma. They get to be together because of those magical things that happen. He is less powerful than Emma, though, because no matter what's going on, Emma's tougher than Julian. That's the moral of the story. Okay, so this is supposed to be Kelsier. I know this is probably supposed to be Vin. This is vague enough that we can pretend it's Kelsier, especially since I got a good picture of Vin later down here. So we're pretending this is Kelsier this is from the Final Empire, also known as Mistborn, from the Mistborn trilogy. Mistborns are scary. Mistborns are tough, and he's a fighter. I think his Mistborn abilities would definitely be enough to win out against Guinevere, and he has enough combat prowess. He thinks on his feet really well. I think he could also defeat Adrian in combat. Do we think he could beat Archer? I'm going to say no. He beats Adrian, but he doesn't beat Archer. So Mistborn, if you don't know what they can do, basically how Mistborn work is that they can eat metals, certain types of metals, and then they can burn, which is just like use up within their body those metals, and doing so gives them like a certain ability per metal. In this world, there are Mistborn, Mistings, and then just like normal people. Mistings can use one metal. They don't get to pick. It's just they're born with the ability to burn one singular metal. Mistborn can use all 8 of the special metals. The metals allow you to get things like super strength, or you can dampen or inflame somebody's emotions. You can manipulate metal. You can throw yourself to and from metal, but it also takes a lot of calculation because it all depends on physics. But between his super strength and his super health, basically, Mistborns are pretty scary. I think he has enough powers to beat Adrian with those abilities. Kyoshi. Kyoshi's the avatar. She goes straight up into godlike because she can use, well, this is from the Avatar series, the Chronicles of the Avatar, or in this case, specifically the Kyoshi duology. I know I should have said that first. But again, she is the avatar, and I feel like a lot of people know that. As master of all four elements, she can go into the avatar state, which allows her to basically channel hundreds of lifetimes and use an incredible amount of power. She becomes godlike, so I'm putting her up there. Versus Julian and Emma, I think they would destroy the ring, but I'm gonna put her below them. Yeah, I'm gonna put her below them, but just barely. It was tough. They get a lot of defensive capability. It's very hard to harm them. So I'm gonna say that it's hard to harm her too, but I think it would be a little bit tougher to land a hit on these guys. So I'm going to put her just below them. Okay, so this is from the Strange the Dreamer duology by Laini Taylor. This is Lazlo Strange. Okay, I'm going to put him at the top of very strong. I'm not going to talk too much about what Lazlo can do, but basically he gets one element that he can control, and this element is very malleable, and he can do a lot of almost reality breaking things. He's like bottom of godlike, top of super strong. I'm keeping him in super strong for now. I might move him later, but super strong for now. Okay, so this is going to be Lira, or possibly Lyra, from To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. At the peak of her abilities, she does get very strong, but not very strong in tier. She gets godlike because she gets mastery over a particular region. So she gets pretty godlike there. I hope I'm doing a good job of towing the line between spoilers and non-spoilers, and not just making it too spoilery for people who want to avoid spoilers and frustrating for the people who don't care. Please let me know if next time I should just go full spoilers. So from Red Queen, we have Mare Barrow. She has lightning magic, which I don't really feel is a spoiler because you find that out in the first book pretty early on. That's what the first book is about. I put her in very strong for now. Could she beat Kelsier? I don't think so. Kelsier's got age on her and therefore more experience. I think he would be clever enough and fast enough to be able to deal with her lightning magic with his Mistborn abilities. Next we have Miuko from 1,000 Steps into Night by Traci Chee. This is a standalone YA, and it follows a girl who is becoming a demon over the course of the book. A death demon specifically. So the beginnings of powers that she is trying to avoid getting is that if she touches someone, she starts to drain the life out of them. Obviously, this is a very powerful ability. I feel like too many of my people aren't very strong again. This keeps happening. Pick different characters, I guess. Maybe this is just a YA convention. You gotta make your people tough. The problem is that she has to touch them. And a lot of the rest of these guys, you don't have to get anywhere near them. So I'm actually going to put her at the top of strong because she does have to be in close quarters. The top of strong, the top of strong, the top of strong. Okay, cool. She's at the top of strong because she does have to be in very close quarters. It doesn't happen instantaneously either. So she has to be in close quarters, and it does take some time. So putting her there. Sarai, next up from Muse of Nightmares. Once again, from the Strange the Dreamer duology. Gonna put her... Where am I gonna put her? I'm gonna put her in average, actually, because so her ability is to inflict dreams or nightmares upon somebody. And she does this with moths. But that's not really that good of a power. They already have to be asleep. First of all, she doesn't make them fall asleep. And all she does is give somebody nightmares, which would suck in real life. Obviously, you wouldn't want that. But in a combat situation, she is not. She doesn't know how to fight. So she's average. I don't think she's necessarily like flimsy or weak. she hasn't been trained in any way. She's just a regular person who happens to also have that moth ability. From Six of Crows and the King of Scars duology, we have Nina Zenik. She is also going to go in very strong because she has Heartrending. She's the ability to Heartrend, which is basically to stop somebody's heart. It does take a minute, but she can do it from a distance. I think that would win out against Guinevere. All she has to do is have sight on somebody. So I think that would take out Adrian too. She can maybe beat Mare. No. I'm gonna give Mare this one. I think Mare could take her out at the peak of her lightning-based powers. Yeah, because they both require sight and a little bit of time, but I think Mare could finish her off faster than Nina could finish off Mare. You know what? No, I changed my mind. I think Nina could beat her. I think Nina could Heartrend faster than Mare could. Okay, I'm gonna say it's a tie, but wait. No. The peak. Okay, with that in mind, at the very peak of Nina's abilities, she could definitely take out Mare. She could definitely take out Kelsier. I think she goes at the top of very strong. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to put her in godlike. At the very peak of her abilities, when she is at her strongest, I think she counts as godlike, but I think Lira could still overcome her with sheer might. Yep, I feel good about that. Okay, Nova, once again from the Renegades trilogy by Marissa Meyer. She has the ability to never sleep, as well as the ability to put other people to sleep. Plus, she has a whole lot of gear on her, usually. I think she has like a gun and some other stuff, and she's very scrappy. But with all that said, I'm going to put her here because we do see this matchup a couple of times, and I think she usually tends to kind of come out on top, but I think she would get electrocuted to death by Mare. Next up we have, so again, I couldn't find a good picture, so I am using this picture of Prince Eric because To Kill a Kingdom is a retelling of Little Mermaid. This is Prince Elian is who this is supposed to be, and he's a strong boy. He fights sirens, but he doesn't have any superpowers or anything like that, so I'm putting him at the bottom of strong because he's tough, but he can't take out a shadow hunter. At least I don't think so. He doesn't have any superpowers. He doesn't have any runes or anything like that. So bottom of strong. This is actually Sephia from the Reader trilogy or the Sea of Ink and Gold trilogy. And she is going to go right up here with Nina in Godlike. She gets some incredible abilities over the course of the books. The magic system in Sea of Ink and Gold is called Illumination, and it allows you to look at a person and understand everything that they have ever been through, as well as change certain things in reality. That, to me, classes as godlike, so there she goes. Tessa, once again, she is actually, because of how Cassandra Clare books work, she goes right up here with Emma and Julian. Her shape-shifting powers give her a lot of strength, so up there is where she goes. Then, from Mistborn, from the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. This is Vin, our other protagonist in the trilogy, and she's also going to go in godlike. Probably not the bottom like I have her here. So she's a Mistborn as well, and she's able to tap into some other abilities as the series goes on. So I'm going to go ahead and pop her right here next to Tessa. And I think at the peak of her abilities, Vin beats Tessa. No question. And then to finish this off, we have Will Herondale, who is just a shadow hunter. So he goes in strong, but again, he's just a shadow hunter. I don't know if this is actually supposed to be Jem or if this is really supposed to be Will, but the character has dark hair and it's from Clockwork Angel, the cover of Clockwork Angel, so I'm pretending that it's Will, even if it's supposed to be Jem, because Jem is supposed to have silver hair. So this is Will, and he could beat Prince Elian because he does have Shadowhunter abilities, but also he's here in Strong. And that's everybody. We actually have more godlike this time. Let me see. Do I like where everyone is placed? Yeah, I think I'm really happy with this. If I was unfair to your favorite character, please let me know down below where you would have put them, or if you think that I overlooked something, maybe gave somebody too much credit, please let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and most importantly, have a great night, universe!